Builder! What is this? This is the Zeapon Micro 2 Plus, an updated version of the original Micro 2. Costs anywhere from $250 to $500. If you want the motor and manual belt function, buy the motor bundle first and then buy the belt. You'll save 40 bucks that way. They've updated the design to allow you to switch from the motor to the belt in under a minute without breaking off your fingers like the original one. Aside from the other updates, it's basically the same smooth slider as before. Should you upgrade from the original? Only if you are one of those users that go between the manual and motor frequently, or if you have someone ready to buy the original one off your hands.
Done. Roll that intro.
What's going on, everybody? You're watching Too Long Didn't Read Filmmaker, where the answers comes first, the reasons come last, but we're constantly and always still learning. So today we're going to find out whether or not the Zeapon Micro 2 Plus is going to be the right slider for you and your overall filmmaking kit, and whether or not you should consider upgrading if you have the original Micro 2. And I want to thank Zeapon for sending this out to me so I can provide you with this comparison review today. Now let's start off with the price point, because this is very key depending on if you want to actually purchase this or not. So if you want to buy the slider only, it's going to be $260. If you want the slider and motor package, it's coming in at approximately $450. And depending on which one you buy, if you want to add the motor later, that's $250. If you want to add the manual belt later, that's approximately $16. This is really key because if you know you're going to be using between the motor and the manual belt, buy the motor version and then buy the belt. If you do it this way, you can save yourself approximately $30. So just a pro tip there to save some cash. When it comes to the difference between the original Micro 2 versus the new Micro 2 Plus, one of the biggest improvements is something I was highly critical about, and that is their motor attachment design, in that it was really hard to basically switch between the two. Well, they fixed that with that thumb screw over here, of which I will demonstrate. So here we are. I'm going to basically start by removing the thumb screws here. And once that's done, when you flip it over, this thumb screw over here is going to release the bottom of the belt. Doesn't take too long. Then we flip it over. This one is actually held by a magnet, and if you push it towards the carriage, it will pop off. And simply slide the motor out. Bingo. Next, let's take the manual belt. Simply take the magnetic attachment and wait for it to latch on. Once you hear the confirmative snap, then simply line up the screw towards the back, and once you do, use the thumb screw to tighten it up. And there you have it. We are now in full manual mode. You can basically get this done in about 30 seconds to a minute, which is way better than before. They've now eliminated the old additional accessory, the low profile bracket, and now it's completely bolted onto the slider, which is very nice. They also give you two additional 1/4-20 screw holes here, and basically if you're using a QR plate to put it on a tripod, you don't have to worry about the slider twisting loose when you are moving about. The NPF battery now has a lock so that it won't pop off as easily like it did in the original version. They've also now added a carriage lock button, so now you don't have to bring the carriage back to the center to lock it. You can basically lock it anywhere on the slider. When it comes to the smartphone app, we do see a redesign here, making it a little bit more sleek and much more bold in terms of its icons. If you look at the far one to the right, this is where you can basically set up your waypoints and the total speed. You can set up to 6 waypoints on the slider, and to cancel them, you actually have to go in reverse order by holding F, cancel it, hold E, cancel it, so on and so forth. So what's the bottom line here? Is the Micro 2 Plus something you should be thinking about for your overall filmmaking kit? And if you have the original one, is it even worth upgrading? Let's start with the new people who don't have a slider and have been looking for one. Here's the TLDR in terms of the awesome features of the Zeapon. It's only about 13 inches long, which makes it nice and easy to travel with, and it gives you approximately a 23-inch slide, which is perfect for narrative films, short films, if you're doing YouTube B-roll shots, that's all fine. Now with this whole quick, kind of like a quick release, if you will, being able to switch from the motor to manual so quickly, this is going to be much better for you on your travels or on a narrative film set. You're not going to be wasting any more time switching everything out. Last but not least, all those other additional features is really helpful. But the main thing about the Zeapon is actually the fluid bearing technology, because without the use of a counterweight, you can get super smooth slides, especially if you're manual mode. Now, for the people that have the original Micro 2, is it actually worth it for you to upgrade to the Micro 2 Plus? There's really only one major thing here that's gonna make it totally worth upgrading. If you are one of the users that are constantly going in between motor and manual belt, if you constantly are going in between, then yes, I would say definitely, because the original one, it was kind of very cumbersome to be able to switch between the manual belt and the motor. This one streamlines it completely, and in my opinion is completely worth the upgrade. Another way if it's worth the upgrade is if you know someone who wants your original Micro 2 and you can sell it off right there and then and get the upgraded version, that's another reason. But otherwise, if you were one of the few users that use the motor only, or you use the manual belt only, and you never want to go across to the other side because you have no use for it, then I would say it's probably not worth the upgrade, just because you're not really gaining anything at that point. You're still getting the exact same smooth fluid bearing slides, so there's really no point in upgrading. And hey, that is it for this week, everybody. If this video has made all the influence in your purchasing decisions, I would truly appreciate it if you check out my Amazon affiliate links down below. And again, this costs nothing extra to you, just gives me a little compensation so I can continue making videos like this for you. And as always, if you have any questions or comments, go ahead and leave it down below. I will get to them as fast as I can. And until then, like, subscribe, and share, and I'll see you guys in the next one.